All right, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Thursday, October 31st, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give it a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Again, 1 day left for the sale, fall sale. It'll be through tomorrow at midnight. Lots of trades going on here and a lot of action. Let's get into it today. So, bull market over? Well, we'll see. I'm not really necessarily in that camp, but a very good sell here. And S&P down 2%, Q's down 2.5%. Right now we're waiting on Apple. It's 4:20 EST, and they usually report between 4:20 4:25. Let's take a look at Amazon though really quick. After hours getting a good bid. There's some GEX at 195 and 200. We kind of went up to the high end, and I expect us to settle around 195 here unless something is said in the conference call. Speaking of surprises, let's look at Intel here. So trick or treat for the markets really with this sell-off, but Intel, look at that, almost up to 25 now. So that's basically the highs of September. So nice job there. And right now it's down to see if Tim can cook or not. And you see the NQ here, not really getting much of a jump in the after hours. So Amazon, that's all. Sixth largest stock in the NQ, and that's all we're getting. But to be fair, Apple is selling a little bit. So it looks like there was some dumping that went on right before or right after the bell. Same thing with Microsoft. I mean, there was some definitely dumping. By the way, where did we close today? Just below 570 again. So we're back to the all-time greatest strike of all time at 570 here. And I think right now, well, I know that there was definitely some puts assigned at that level. I'm not necessarily thinking this is exactly going to be low. We'll see what Apple does here in a minute. I'll be able to walk you through that as I react to it in real time. The GEX does look kind of supportive to me right now, just for reference. So looks like, I mean, I could see 230 to 235 even. That would basically take you back to the highs. So it looks like right now, maybe 220 would be kind of the low end, but these are puts here that could get burned out, but 230 is kind of the midline there. So it definitely looks a little supportive. Again, who knows? It could change. I generally don't bet on these types of things, but just to give us a look there. But either way, you can see here the Q's breaking this trend line here. Everybody's talking about the rising wedge, and good clean break. So we'll see what we get here. I just want you to make sure that we're not like falling in love. People fall in love with these patterns, and I mean, they're not the be-all, end-all, right? I remember this one that was going around all last year, right? And look what became of that. Oh, we just went and just gained like 25% in the next, 7 months. So don't fall in love with these patterns. But we're finally getting the pullback that we've all been kind of looking for, at least the whole market has been. And me too. So right now, if we do continue down, I think there's some very good daily chart support at 56.75, right in that area. We're basically into the 50 moving average here. And don't forget, right, we have Apple coming out. That's still sitting there, so that'll probably be 425. We've got Apple coming out, and tomorrow we've got non-farm payroll too. There's lots of hedges in place for all of this stuff here. So once this dust is settled, and once we're kind of through like mid next week, FOMC time, it's going to be, the onus is going to be on the bears to break this market down before then. They've got to do significant damage. One good sell day is not enough, right? I think we need to start really taking out, we need to start with taking out this pivot high. By the way, end of the month, for what it's worth, it is red, and so are the Qs. Now we have a unique opportunity here. I don't think this is going to happen, but if Apple really pumped hard, there would be the opportunity here where the Qs close the month red versus NQ, which closes green, because we still got 30 minutes left until the actual close. I don't think that's going to happen, but either way, pretty good damage here. You can see right there, NQ slicing into that area. I think there's some decent support around 19.8. We'll see if that can get there tomorrow. That would pretty much coincide with this area on the SPX. 565 if you follow SPY. 480 on triple Qs. These are just daily chart levels. I don't know. I think it would take a lot for non-farm payroll to really crush us tomorrow. There's also some talk about Iran, right? They just released a statement. They are planning on retaliating to Israel before the election. Well, okay, so now that you've told us what's going to happen, and oil getting a bid. So good pot there. There was a rumor yesterday though, and now I guess it's confirmed, or maybe they're just doubling down on it. But back above that trend line here, we'll talk about oil in a minute. And it's funny how this stuff always seems to happen right around the last week of October, early November. Max fear. And I don't know, we'll see. I'm not in the new bear market camp. Been kind of waiting for this pullback, looking for it. But we'll just go level to level here. By the way, speaking of looking for it, bears here, AAI, increasing each of the last 4 weeks. So we're definitely starting to see that. And you can see volatility here. Really at basically highs. You do have higher lows here on the VIX. And it does look like we're poised for some type of vol spike. That may come tomorrow, may come non-farm. We'll see. 425 right now. So Apple here, nothing yet. They're usually pretty much right on the dot there. So I guess we'll check back in on that in a second. Let's just take a look at Amazon again. Yeah, Amazon holding up nicely. Intel. So very good. But that's what I'm looking at. IWM here, breaking the trend line again. Don't fall in love with the trend lines. They're there, but you still have, all this room here for another higher low. And we could even draw this out like this too. So we could go back into the 100-day MA. But right now, good break and good sell. The Dow was a little bit of a warning, right? I talked about this last week. I said, look, the fact that we're kind of like flirting with this breakout area, not really good. You don't want to close the week below that. And obviously we're going to do that this week unless we have a gap and go tomorrow. But at least on the daily, on Monday, closing below. So the Dow was kind of the first one to go, which is a little unusual. Usually the NASDAQ and the Russell will lead to the downside and upside. But the Dow was the first to go here today. Closing below the 50 MA. So that was able to lose that. Let's see, Apple's still not out. Wow, they're going to push it. They're going to make us wait, huh? Wonder how many buybacks they're going to come up with. So, all right, maybe they got to up it before they release the statement. They saw what happened to the market today. All right, SMH here is up 2 points in the after hours thanks to Intel. Again, Broadcom down. We can't forget SMCI. Again, I told you guys watch out for this thing. $40, it's going to 30 if it breaks that, and that's what it did. This thing has gone up on complete air, and that's why it can go down just as easily. There's a lot of support here, though, like a ton. I won't touch this stock though because they're being investigated for fraud, right? So that could mean Nikola, right? Which is that, right? I don't know if it's going to be that bad. Nobody knows, but I won't touch them. I mean, for day trades or scalps, maybe, but that's it. SMH, there's a trend line there. We'll be watching that tomorrow. May coincide with QQQ 480. 200 moving average, not far below. If you follow the stocks, we're already right there. My IGV down 2.5. So a good little sell there. Well, I'd love to see that retrace some more. 88 would be really nice. I don't know if we're going to get there. There's still some support at 90 though, or just below 90 rather. Tim's making us wait. Dow Transports here. This was green all day long up until the last second. So we got this big outside. Once we got that big, unwind there in the last few seconds, this went red. But transports held up. And in fact, there were some sectors, like, again, we can talk about XLE. XLE green. KRE was green for a good chunk of the day, or at least flat. We had XLF, same thing, until towards the end of the day. So there were some sectors that showed a little bit of strength. Take a look at XLP. This was, again, green until kind of like the late afternoon right there at the end. Watching this kind of channel there as well. XLV held up pretty well. So again, defensives doing what they should. XLU up 82 cents. And look at TLT here. That managed to carve out a gain. So it's still not the greatest yet. We'll talk about yields. Actually, we can talk about them right now. So we're going to switch over there anyway. But yeah, looking at the 30-year, yeah, TLT was green, but you still have a bull inside bar here. So I'm telling you, like the long end here, this is, believe it or not, it's ready to go. I mean, like that 20 MA is right there. I don't think it needs to do much more to go higher. I also see a lot of people, like I'm seeing this a lot on social media, like everybody's trying to call the bottom in TLT. I think until that stops happening, we won't bottom. That's just my opinion. Either that or we're going to go up into the FOMC, that is yields. And then that's where we probably would top out, where they can job on the twos lower. But again, there's a lot of air. There's a liquidity hole right here between 4.1 and 4.41. So yield's still pretty firm, despite rolling over a little bit today. The 10s do look a little top heavy. But 30s, still a nice inside pattern there. All right. This has got to be out. Okay, there we go. So 223, yeah, it's 430. So spike down. We talked about 220. Let's see if that holds. Yeah, that 220 level is still there. Now popping back to flat. And NQ basically hitting the lows of the day. Now back to flat here. So looks like revenue right in revenue small beat. So not really seeing anything too substantial here. Looks like they're kind of in line so far. So good pop. So again, 230. There is incentive to burn out puts there, and then 235 I think would be max move unless it like really squeezes up. But anyway, we'll check back in on that in a little bit. NQ looks flattish, so it doesn't look like Apple's saving the day right now. So NQ, there's your little slice there. We got through some of those sectors. We'll talk about the rest here in a minute. Let's flip back over, get to home builders. Again, down 82 cents, still holding this area, and you're still inside of that bounce level from the other day. We'll see where it closes the week. I don't want to see it lose 111. VNQ down 1.7. Again, looking more like a lower high here. We talked about that. I didn't really love the pattern there. I think that wants 92. XLF briefly touched on. Again, lower highs now and lower lows confirmed. Believe it or not, technically that's a lower high and then there's a low in the same day, and then we just made a lower low to that. So I would give it the downside to probably like 45.50. That's just a daily chart level. KRE down 1.5. This structure is still fine though. And again, here's a thing, like I don't really see this as super. I mean, yes, all the indexes were down, but it did not really feel to me like a super risk off kind of type of day. It just, I mean, KRE, I think if we had really big problems, this would be down a lot more. It wouldn't be above its 20 moving average. And really was kind of not even down that much until the last 10 minutes when we got that big flush. There's KBE as well, and broker dealers finally carving out a red day down 1.6. Again, still above the moving averages. Robinhood took a pretty big hit though. That's got some daily chart support in there. Oil I talked about. I was hoping for an inside day today. I wanted to buy some, but nice pop back above 70 to 70.50. Again, I told you guys Tuesday that I'd starting to catch some algos that were saying that momentum kind of dead on this sell-off despite the gap down. And yeah, that was a low. So good pop there for crude bulls. And yeah, next level still 72. So we'll see if this ends up being a higher low. I mean, there's only 2 trading days left until the election. So, I mean, like, it's not like they're slamming it down here. Like, they're going to slam it down. Like, you know, even if it pops a little bit, it's not going to affect gas prices. It's not going to affect voters, really. So I don't think that there's, like, the political incentive right now. I mean, there is, but it's not. I mean, like, it's 11th hour stuff here. XLE up 55 cents. Got to get back above 90. XOP, actually red today. But probably some earnings, I'm assuming. Maybe Valero, you know. We have earnings tomorrow on Chevron, Exxon, and I think Conoco. Or maybe Conoco was today. Yeah, I don't even know. We have so many earnings here. Lose track of all of them. Yeah, so they're So Conoco, nice boost there. XLE up. OIH, that's above our little wedge. Not really the most convincing breakout candle, but it's there. 280 is still a big point of control. We can get above that in a weekly close. I think that that confirms a low there. But energy, again, I still maintain this. By the way, speaking of energy, I do like solar here. I think, right, the Trump win is priced in, at least as far as the markets are concerned. So where's your downside in TAN? It's already factored in, right? Look at these charts like end phase. This one's trying to put in a higher low. FSLR, I think, is interesting. I like that candle yesterday after earnings. This is interesting. I mean, I'm not saying it's like I have a buy signal on it, but I just don't see a ton of downside. Like if Trump wins, could we have a 1-day spike down? Sure, but I think that would be it. If Kamala wins, you're looking at a moon, right? So I think risk reward here for solar is interesting. And I didn't even add this in, but I'll add it in now. Let me get rid of these old lines here. I don't think this one's that important. I'll leave that one on there. I know that's a long-term one. But yeah, if you just go from like here, actually we can go all the way back. You can see a pretty nice falling wedge. So, I mean, you know, maybe it's not, maybe there's something there. I think risk reward's not bad. You put a stop below the low in a weekly close, like you're risking three points on this, but if this breaks out, I mean, we could be looking at 50, 55, right? So, just a thought. Anyway, uranium continuing to back off, CCJ down. I did cut my URNJ yesterday, just full disclosure there. Just the runner position on it. This is still good support though. They're just kind of retesting this level, and we'll see what it does into the end of the week. And M, same thing, came off the lows nicely. So I think uranium's still good. Just a little overhyped in the short term. Nat gas, basically double bottom. I don't think anyone cares, do they? I still think it gets a bounce into the end of the year though. Dollar index, this is probably the weakest I've seen it in a while, right? 4 days in a row red, not by much, but 4 days in a row red. Maybe it's a precursor to yields finally pulling back. We'll see. But it did come off the lows by the end of the day, and now it's kind of coming back in. So a little soft there. The only problem I have with the dollar is you've just like, you melted up without building any support. So take that however you want. Gold, good outside move with volume. So we talked about this. I said sometimes distribution doesn't happen all at once. Sometimes you just get one candle, one reversal candle on a little bit of volume. Then you get another one a few days later on heavier volume. I think this is likely to top out around next week if there's a time for that. If I had to pick a time, so like maybe next FOMC, down 1.6. I still think this can get to 28.50 though. But definitely starting to see maybe some distribution signs here. It's not a sell everything. It's not a new bear market, but it just could be a correction signal. GDX down 3, XJ down 2, 2 3/4. Silver here down 3.7. Not broken, but I want to see it hold above 32 at a minimum. Preferably above 33, right? If you close the week below 32, it's kind of like saying, well, you're kind of talking about a failed breakout, aren't you? We got to put that on the table. SIL down 2.4, did come off the lows though, and we actually had a buy signal on this in the trading room. It basically worked out. There's SILJ. SILJ was a little bit weaker, which makes sense. But again, basically done just back testing this area. So jury's still out there. Platinum down 2%. So good slice off our resistance level. And then palladium here. Again, we told you 1250. Back checking to that too. There's some support around, 11 or, 1085, 1070. Copper, this ain't going to last. It's not going to last here. This is about done. So I don't know, maybe another day or two, at most. We got non-farm payroll tomorrow. Maybe that's what does it. But I mean, this is tight as it can be. A move is coming for sure. 425 is your support resistance right now. You break above just this red bar, I think it's good. on a closing basis. It's had 2 tests, but hasn't been able to close above. All right, Bitcoin down 3%. Again, we talked about this backing off of this area. I think this support holds, and then we can curl back up. So Bitcoin backing off as expected. You know, it was a previous all-time high. But I'm looking for consolidation here and then a breakout. Let's take a look at Apple here, 222. So that's coming back in. So I'd say 220 is probably our max move on the downside. It seems to be kind of holding in that area, yeah. So 220 to 225, unless it turns around. And then I would say 230. So let's see, NQ futures here at just above 20K. It's really not even, it's funny how little this is affecting things. Amazon just mooning, and then Intel mooning. It's still holding the gains. But considering how much Microsoft crashed the market yesterday, do you think that Apple would be doing a little bit more? But maybe it's getting a little tired here. We just sold off all day long, so we'll see. Yeah, good outside move. Been looking for this for a while, and it finally came. So sometimes it comes when you least expect it here. And actually, that's usually what happens. But yeah, I think this is good daily chart support tomorrow. We'll see what happens there. And again, we'll go into tomorrow. Again, we got a lot to digest. We could open completely different tomorrow morning. We also have non-farm payroll. And then next week, we've got an election. That should be a lot of fun. I don't think it's going to be clean at all. Should be very, I'm expecting it to be mostly contested. We'll see. And then the FOMC, I think I read something a week ago, there's only one time ever where the FOMC was the same week as the election, so that's fun. So we've got that to look forward to as well. So anyways, we'll see what we get here tomorrow. Bulls right now, near term, let me just get rid of the after hours. Yeah, bulls right now, we want to clear 40 and then 50 really to get a relief rally. 57.70 that's the squeeze, that's the low. But I think we're going to test lower prices here based on what Apple's doing. So, and really kind of based on what we did today. By the way, volume was not very heavy. 58 million, that's including after hours. So not super heavy there. But anyways, guys, I'll wrap it up here again. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. See you guys all tomorrow.